feel like once I came out to my mom and my dad, then it don't matter to nobody else. As long as my parents know, I'm good. So I'm out.
How did they receive it?
Basically, she was like, what did she say? She was like, "You my son, I know you." So she basically knew all my life. So she just wished I would have told her before, before now. Yeah.
And how did your dad receive it? Receive it.
I mean, I felt like my dad. He was cool. He didn't care. It's weird because everybody thinks their parents is gonna flip. You're gonna get kicked out. All this crazy stuff. I mean, I'm not saying it can't happen, but I feel like if your relationship with your parents is the way it's supposed to be, they'll love you for who you are anyway. So just go ahead and tell them. Don't wait too long. And you feel more free when she.
So my name is Omari. I forgot what you said. A little bit about myself. I'm born and raised in Durham, North Carolina. Young, gifted, and black. I love music. Just sounds like a dating site. I love music. I love art, theater. I like to have a good time. I don't even think I really ever had like a big coming out experience. I think the first time that I talked to my family about my sexuality, I would say, is about maybe 3 years ago when I published my book, and I had like a book reading, and in my book it talks about how I was introduced to sex, and how I was molested by someone, and how through that molestation it kind of made me confused about the idea of not sexuality, but of having sex with a man, but it had me confused as far as what sex was, and how I should have it, and who should it be with. It just kind of questioned the aspect of sex, not necessarily sexuality, if that makes sense. But that was kind of the first time I ever had a conversation or a dialogue with my family about sex and who I had sex with, or something like that.
And how did they take it when you had that conversation with them?
It really wasn't necessarily even a conversation. It was part of, I wrote a monologue for my book reading. So I wrote a monologue to go along with some of the aspects of my book. So when I published the book, what my family did was they all were the first people who bought it. So they read the book before they came. So more than likely, if they didn't read it, maybe they didn't know. But I think everybody basically read it. So it wasn't really like a surprise, like, oh, this occurred, or this is something that happened. But it was more so, what it made me feel is it gave me a little bit more freedom, I feel, to continue on a journey of being me and figuring out who I am, and how I want to live life, and how I want to be as an individual.
Did they know about the molestation?
No. My aunt told me after, well, no, she didn't tell me. She told one of my cousins that because what had happened, I attempted suicide twice.
Because of that?
It was a combination of things. Okay. I think it was that. It was the aspect of a broken family, and not understanding that, and just kind of not really understanding this life thing is what I think, just, I guess that kind of encompasses it all. I just really didn't understand life, or why was this happening to me. So they thought it was someone else because they knew something was wrong, but they didn't know what, because I never said until I wrote the book. So,
Do you feel like that really shaped the way you experienced, or not experienced, the way you had relationships, whether it's friendships or intimate relationships with guys?
yes, I think because it happened so young, I don't think if I was, if that would have never happened, I don't think I probably would have even been thinking about sex. Maybe maybe in high school, maybe I would have been thinking about having sex. But it made me desire to have it. So it made me want to have sex. Um, so in that way, it shaped it. Um, as far as my relationships with guys, or I don't really think that shaped it, but I never even thought about it. Maybe it does. Um, I never really thought about that aspect of it.
Okay. So, what is one thing that you would like, what's one thing that you would say to the younger gay community? If it's a piece of advice, a joke, anecdote, what was something you would say to the gay community now? The younger black gay community, that is.
I would say excel. I think what I the is who you have sex with is who you have sex with. It is what it is. But excel in life, because being black is hard enough. Being black and poor, if you're poor, being poor black is hard enough. So just excel in whatever it is you choose to do. Focus on what it is that really lies inside of you. I don't think, as especially people who grew up in poverty and you're black, a lot of times you don't hear have a dream or have some like what it is that you really want to be, what it is, who are you. I don't think we hear that enough. So learn who you are, and live in it and relish in it, and you make mistakes, learn from them, and continue to grow. But definitely excel in whatever it is that you are desiring to do or desiring to be. And really keep that on your mind. Who do I want to be? Who do I want? How do I want to leave this world? What mark do I want to leave?
And when you wrote your book, was that a part of you trying to just express yourself, or did you always consider yourself just to be a creative person?
I've always been a creative. I've always used to make up short stories when I was younger and sing and love theater and love music. So when I first started writing, it was just basically poetry. Things that even before that, I was writing in a journal and I was journaling just all of my emotions because I was just feeling so much. And as I got older, I realized that writing was something that I loved. So when I was writing the book, what I was really doing was searching for freedom, searching for a way to be, searching for a way to live, searching for a way to just be in a world that sometimes doesn't allow you to just be. So I was kind of in a place of searching, and I was trying to figure out who I was and why I was the way I was, why I love the way I love, why did I see people the way I see people. So it's kind of like a journey into who I was and why I was, is why I initially started to write it. And I really feel that it allowed me to be freer once I got all of that out.
So we want to take it a little lighter. Who was the first gay person, or I say black gay person, that you seen in the media, whether it be TV, in a book, or newspaper, online? Who was the first person that you said, "Wow, that's really a gay black person doing their thing"? If anybody.
I don't think I looked at any. I don't even know. Other than RuPaul's the only gay black celebrity that I can really think of.
Mm-hmm.
Who are some other gay black? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so who are some other gay black high profile people?
Well, it's funny that you said that. RuPaul is. I was just telling somebody the other day. RuPaul is like RuPaul to me is now Black history.
Yeah.
And the stuff that she's been doing or he's been doing for the past couple of years with like the way he's bringing that genre of television to the forefront is just so amazing, and I just could not be more prouder just to be like, this is a black gay brother.
Publicly, like 3 years ago on Facebook, but I don't think nobody really paid attention.
Well, when did you come out to your family officially?
To my family, they kind of found out through, not even through me telling them. They kind of found out through a family member who called me and got me comfortable in a comfort space to where I could talk to her, and I did, and I opened up to her about everything, and she went and it spread like wildfire. That's how they found out. I didn't have that opportunity to tell them myself like I wanted to. When I was older and ready, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
At that age, I was 23. Shit. I thought I was living. Do you hear me? I wasn't trying to talk about that at that moment. They was the furthest. I was in Charlotte. I'm from VA, country town. I was not in the country. I was not trying to be there.
You was living it up.
Ready. Yeah, I was ready to go. Like I was working, you know what I'm saying, full time, banking industry. I won't trying to be in my family's face. I love them, but I had enough of them growing up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I was ready for a change. I was ready to kind of spread my wings in a sense. And I did. I lived out a good life so far. Like I really did. I've been blessed. But through me being blessed, there of course has been struggles, and there has been struggles that have brought me and my family back together. So I'm thankful for that. But yeah, it's been a struggle, like being a black gay male in America. That shit is like irony.
What you mean by irony?
It's like irony, like it's just crazy how it's so taboo. There have been many changes that have been made as far as rights for LGBTQ by our government, but we still have a long way to go. And there's still a lot of people that still have these other mentalities that are not of an accepting mentality, if you understand what I'm saying. And you see it every day. And I just think that we just still have work to do. I feel like it's irony because it's like you have the fact that you're black, you have the fact that you're gay, you know, and you live here. I mean, shit, they killing us for nothing in the streets. It's irony to me. It's like, shit. If I could be who I am without that title, I would be just fine. But because we have a society that has to label everything, that's why I say it's irony. Everything has to be labeled. Everything has its place. And everybody don't work like this. Everybody don't have its place. Everybody don't have that mentality. Some people are just like, yo, I want to be who I am. And either you can be all right with it or not. So I think here it's difficult in the South especially. I think it's difficult because there's so much to deal with, and people ain't got nothing to do. So they even nosier in the South, church folks especially. I love them dearly.
And when you're Black and gay, I tell people there's 3 levels of coming out. Coming out to yourself, coming out to your family, coming out to your community. Some of us bypass the family and go to the community, and that becomes our family. Some of us tell our family and we leave it right there. My mother had a sister who was a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
She was a bulldogger. She was a stud.
Stud.
A stud. She was a butch. She called herself a stud. She was a bulldogger. She wore suits. But coming up, I never really interacted with her.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew why. And then when I came out and she and I became close, she told me I could never be me. She said, so I never really came to family events. And when I officially came out to my mom, she was like, all this time I kept you away from my sister. Because I thought she influenced you. She said, and how stupid was I? My mother never talked bad about her gay sister. But when she shared with me, that was one of her fears. And then she realized you were never with my sister and you're gay. And so she was like, how stupid was I?
Hey, I'm Nathaniel. I am 30 years old. Yeah, which is very weird to say, but I am 30. I'm from Orlando, Florida. Mm-hmm. I'm a poet. And I guess I'm a blue sheet.
Okay. All right. I'm Raphael. I'm 27.
All right.
Born and raised here in North Carolina. And that's all I got.
I'm London, 27 as well, and I'm from Franklinton, North Carolina.
Should I look here or look at you?
Just look at me.
Okay. Mm-hmm. My name is Richard. I am 35, so I'm probably the oldest out of everybody. Aging gracefully. I am originally from Kansas City, and I am believe it or not, an accountant.
Okay.
Yeah, most people are like, yeah, you don't seem like an accountant,
Okay, that's cool though. I think that's pretty dope that you don't necessarily look like an accountant because it's always going to be. I know it opens up.
Well, I mean, what it's supposed to look like?
Yeah.
Well, because usually accountants have like this really dead personality, very strict, like by the rule, like boring.
Because it's a numbers thing.
Yeah. Personality of a box of roadkill type.
Okay, I came out to myself. I would say probably like 13, like when I could start, really like getting aroused physically all the time, and I would be like popping tents in class and just. So I'm like, yeah, it would never happen with a girl. It always happened with boys.
Right.
So I'm like, oh Lord, this is it. And then I came out to my mom and my sisters actually at my aunt's funeral in Detroit. Because I had gone to, so I graduated high school. I didn't come out through high school at all. I did one semester at USF in Tampa, Florida. And while I was down there, I was living in a dorm, so I was like really like promiscuous and just doing whatever.
Of course,
finally. So then I transferred to UCF, which is in my hometown, but I moved back in with my mom. So it was a major adjustment now to like go back in the closet with her. So I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna like tell them when we are out of town. And also when my sisters are around, so that like I don't know what I was thinking, because it didn't go over well. She was like, what? She started crying. Yeah, that's 19 is the answer.
Okay.
So, myself, like I said, I've been new. So, it won't ever really know coming out to myself. I already knew. But my story is unique because I piggyback off my sister because my sister is also gay. And I found it easier to piggyback off her because she was doing everything first, if that makes sense. My sister's been married and stayed with a significant other. So it was like, once they went through the transition with her, and they were, because like any other parents, they was like, oh, she is just going through a phase, and she will be no. So eventually, I was still in my 20s, and I still had not literally came out and been like, to them that I'm gay. I was just still trying to hide it per se, trying to see how it went over for my sister, and then finally I eventually came out.
Okay. And what age was that?
Like 21, 22.
So that ain't that long ago. That was just a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's interesting.
So I'm telling both.
When did you come out to yourself, and when did you come out to everybody?
Okay. I came out to myself probably my senior year in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever age that was. I was 18. And then I came out to my family, well, to everyone else, probably 22, 23. They didn't take it well. I sent a text message to, I came out to my mom in 2010, and she asked me not to tell anyone, and she told me to continue to date women. And she was like, because I was in the church and I was a minister and I held a title in the church as the youth minister of the church, and I was traveling. And so she was like, don't tell anybody, continue to date women. She was like, I do not allow sex before marriage, but if it takes you to get some pussy to stay straight, you get your pussy. And I held on to those words until I fell in love with someone. And I was out of her home, and I remember him and I was together over a year, and I was like, I don't want to hide this. I want to be able to enjoy, and we can do vacations and everything like that. And if I want to post you, I want to post you. If I go out in the street, I don't want to feel like I can't hold your hand. So I texted my brothers, and they didn't react well. They tracked him down via social media and jumped him and tried to kidnap him. So I cut my family off for over a year until my mother became sickly, and my cousin, who was the oldest cousin, reached out to me and was like, your mom's in the hospital. And like, nobody knows. That's why nobody knows where I live, and a lot of people don't have my phone number and stuff, because I just shunned everybody to the side after that. So, but it's getting better.
So for me, I think I came out to myself when I was in college. We were just talking about this earlier. So even up to the point, even though I knew I was attracted to the same sex, I went to a Christian college in Detroit, and one of the things they made us do was sign an affidavit basically saying that we consented to not perform homosexual acts on campus and things like that. So it wasn't like a free and open environment. And so while I was in college, that's where I ran into my group of LGBT friends, the first ones I ever had. They were actually a group of lesbians, some, pastors' kids, some were on the basketball team. And so we started going out a lot, and that was actually my first gay club experience was at 24. Had my first alcoholic drink at 24. Wow. I remember it was a Sex on the Beach. I remember it as clear as day. Because I was like, this tastes nasty. I don't know why y'all do this. 2 weeks later, I'm like down to 3 of them. Like, it ain't so bad. And so when I really started going out and hanging with them, I felt so at ease. I felt so comfortable. And I think it was at that moment, after about a year of just knowing these folks, I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gay. And that was like I said, that was in college. I was about 24 at the time. I didn't come out to my parents until I was about 28. I remember because it was Thanksgiving. I don't know why I decided, okay, Thanksgiving's gonna be, like, I could have did any day. I just picked the one, right, like, I picked the most dramatic, holiday ever to ruin potentially for them. And so, yeah, I remember because we were in South Carolina at the time, and we went to the beach or something, and the whole weekend I'm sitting there fighting myself in my brain, like, what am I gonna do? Like, how am I gonna tell them? How's this gonna, like, I even wore like this black titanium rainbow ring that had like a rainbow insignia, but it was very subtle. Mm-hmm. So unless you were looking at it, you couldn't see it. So I was like trying to passively aggressively tell them, but I couldn't really have the guts to tell them. But I decided, damn it, Thanksgiving's gonna be the day. So been there Friday, didn't say shit. Saturday, ain't say nothing. Here comes Sunday. I'm supposed to go back on Monday, right? I'm like, okay, here we go. 7 o'clock at night, everybody stuffed themselves, parents laying in bed, walk up to their room, standing at the doorway, the windowsill, and I just let it on out. It was almost like they had this big look of bewilderment, but at the same time confirmation. It wasn't like, this is a big shock to us. I think it was more like, okay, all right, I think they were more trying to digest it. My older brother initially did not take it well. And, based off of his beliefs, his religious beliefs, he in his mind, he couldn't comprehend it at the time. And since then, he's opened up a lot more. He joked, he lives in LA, so he joked to me about dragging me out to West Hollywood and we gonna Vogue battle and stuff like that. So we were making progress, right? But yeah, so I would say 28 was when I came out to my parents, and the reason I waited so late was because had this went left, and they decided to cut me off financially and everything else, I would have been able to stand on my own 2 feet. Mm-hmm. Because I heard the horror stories all the time of kids being kicked out of their homes and being disenfranchised by their own parents, and I'm like, I can't afford that. I got student loan debt. I'm struggling, and I'm making it. I'm wolfing ramens every day as it is. Like, that's just what my parents have. So I couldn't imagine what it'd be like without it. So it's basically to protect myself in that regard, in that instance. And so, yeah, 28, finally let the cat out the bag after I told them. Awkward, pretty much for like the next 6-7 months. And I think as time went on, they started trying to communicate in a way that I would understand. But I was just glad at that point that they stopped asking me when I'm bringing a girlfriend home, because I was like, I got so tired of ducking and dodging the bullets. I'm like, it's a lot of work to try to change the subject every 10 minutes.
Well, so my name is Sunny. That's the name I go by. People know me by my given name, which is Milton. But no one calls me that except family. That being said, I'm 32. I'm a Cancer, July 19th. I live in San Diego, California, the sunny. I have a very different coming out story. Well, not very different, but it's sort of intricate. So when I was 5 years old, I told my mom I wanted to be a paint face, right? So a paint face to me was a person who was at the carnivals, because we had like a fair in our town, who painted like the flowers and things on people's faces. So creative I've always been. I wanted to be a scientist. At one time I wanted to be a veterinarian because my uncle was a vet. He was like the black vet in town. However, I always was attracted to what society would say was more feminine jobs, or more feminine things. So when I was younger, like I got caught painting my cousin's nails, and everyone was like over it. Like, why would you paint nails? That's for girls, blah, blah, blah. I also, my grandmother used to be a Mary Kay consultant, and she worked throughout our city. And funny thing, she used to take me with her. Like, my granddad would be cutting the grass and he would want me to help him, and she would like
grab you,
pull me out of the situation, because she knew I hated it. So I would go with her. Back then. So that being said, I was attracted to more feminine things, as society would call it. And I also was in church, and I've been playing the keyboard since I was 5. So I always played, I always sung, and I knew that I liked same sex, as far back as I can remember. Like, as far back as I can remember, like being attracted to a person, I was attracted to men. And of course, growing up in a small town, one high school, and people who were very closed-minded and did not really know what being gay was and associated being gay with AIDS, drugs, and dying. It was very hard. I was one of the only gay Black men in my school. I was one of the only gay Black men who vocally said with their mouth that they were gay, despite what my family wanted me to do, because they didn't want me to say anything, because I was in church and I played the keyboard and I sung, and I was little Milton who played the keyboard and sung. So it was embarrassing to them, which is understandable. I get it, totally understand. However, my immediate family was not so happy at 16 when I vocally said I was gay. Before that, I had said it, but it was given, oh, it's a phase, you'll grow out of it. And being that young teenager, I was like, oh yeah, it's just a phase. I tried to date girls and boo, but I was always still attracted to men. So boom, right. So came out 16. Actually was going through a depression because no one understood me. Had a significant other at the time who was a little bit older than me, and basically I was not doing great in school. I didn't necessarily try to commit suicide, but I spoke of being suicidal and wanting to die and things of that nature, and was admitted into. I've never told this like live. People know, but yeah. So I was admitted to a behavioral health center for a little while, and when I came out, I still wasn't fine, and my coming out story was like ups and downs. So some people in my family were just like, oh, that's him, like my grandma. And some people like my mom, who, if you meet her, if you see her today, you would be like, she never was not on your side. Because like as she grew and I grew, we grew together.
Same here.
Right. Because back then I was like, oh my God, do I want you to be my mom? Now I would be like, who else could be my mom? And I don't even think about this.
My name is Brandon, and I'm 37. I came out like age 17 after I graduated high school. So we had a couple of older gay gentlemen in our neighborhood. They just, it was kind of like jokes to them, but they respected them, but they still called them like punks and stuff like that. But they still respected a couple of gay gentlemen we had, older gentlemen in the neighborhood. It wasn't something very popular in the neighborhood. I guess the secret was out about me. I got the same respect, but I don't know what kind of backlash I got. But my grandmother, she in the church, so she was just asking me, did I know what the Lord say about it? But my mother, she very...
Also known as Keys, 37. My coming out story. Well, coming out to my mom, I came out to her the day before Valentine's Day. Yeah, and I had already been like, I think it was it was the same year I started clubbing. And so I was already in a relationship. I was actually in my second relationship by then. But anyway, yeah, and it was the day before Valentine's Day, and we were just talking, and the guy that I was dealing with at the time, he lived in Delaware. He lived in Wilmington, Delaware, which is 30 minutes from here, 30 minutes from Philly. So, I was, I'm every weekend pretty much, I'm disappearing, you know what I'm saying? So don't nobody really know where I'm going. So I was like, at least I'll tell her, because I don't want to be on the road and then we get into a car accident or something. And then she wondering like
what was going on?
Like, who is this man and why is he in the car with this man? And he was like,
was he older than you?
Yeah, he's 15, 16 years older than me. Yeah, so it's I was like, all right. And plus, I was clubbing and stuff. So I ain't want nobody like bump into me or something and go telling her before I could tell her. So I just, I was taught. So yeah, I called her and we was talking, and I told her, like, I don't even remember word for word, but like I told her, and she tried to hit with that. First she tried to hit me with that. Moms know shit. I'm like, yeah, okay. So then she was like, she started that. It's a phase. She started that, and I was like, well, okay, that like, okay, like I understand I understood why she was reacting the way she was reacting because she's a Jehovah's Witness.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, I was prepared for everything except for her like throwing me out, to the trash or something, because I already knew how close we were. So because knowing how close we already were and stuff, I was like, I know she ain't going to disown me. She might be a little disappointed or a lot disappointed or whatever. And hopefully she don't go into like no depression about it, but I think we still gonna be straight. And I did it, and we've been, it's better. It got better.
You don't know who I am by now? Shame on you. Why? My name is Imani Van Zap, and I'm here. Gotta always get the choreography to help you fix your shit. And I'm so glad to be here with my baby and to be talking tonight, or over the next couple of episodes, however it will be. I'm Imani Van Zap. I've had a bit of a story as far as how I've come to be. Everything in the beginning was more of a parody, if you will. And since then, people have willed out this energy. So as far as how I identify, when I'm Imani Van Zap, the safest way for everyone is that I am your straight Black woman, and that's it, okay? But the way that I identify as an artist is I'm an energy. And so that does not have a gender. It is what you feel, whoever I am to you at that moment. And I would tell some people, if you call me sir while I look as good as this, you might get slapped. So use the right pronouns while you're looking at my nephew is he and him. My nephew Eric, who's responsible, for all of this, putting this together. We work very closely together, if you will. And so that's how I identify and love to move about the world. And so far, I must be doing something right.
Where you grew up, in the area that you grew up, how did they view, or how did you perceive they viewed queer people, especially queer Black people?
Yes, the area where I grew up. Now, from Columbus, Ohio, which is, you would think like, oh God, but it actually is a little bit more progressive than I think that people would give it credit for. Even during my childhood, I still felt that as conservative as the world was at that time, that it had a little bit more progression to it. My mother is from Beckley, West Virginia. My father is also from West Virginia. His family moved from West Virginia to Ohio when he was like in his teens. So his way of seeing the world had a little bit more of a, to not be redundant, progressive nature. He seemed to be more open-minded about things. So as it related to queer people in growing up, there was this right and wrong. It was never the sense of disowning or anything like that. If you were to, come out, that you'll be kicked out or something like that, as far as people that I know and just have experience and my nephew. But I will say that there was a very clear understanding of what is right, what is wrong, what does the Bible say, what can you be, and if anything, push for every reason to go into that direction of acceptance. And so that was kind of hard to try to come out of and to try to individualize and make yourself unique in a society that was really trying to create boxes for everyone.
Okay. And as a child, what were some of the things that you heard that possibly would have hindered you from revealing your true self?
Let's see. Depending on what choices you make, that you'll go to hell. I don't know who hasn't heard that,
right,
to some degree, but that, was one thing that was always a resonating factor. And if I can park there for a moment and say that to scare someone about I understand the need that we have often had with, in particular, Christian religion to prepare for the afterlife. I get it. I understand the concept of it. but to stifle someone's here on earth because of what you're telling them will happen if they're honest with themselves does something to the mind, does something very deep to the mind when you start to manipulate that part. And that can be very scary. So, to have those types of guardrails on your path, yeah, you're going in the direction that you should, pursuing your dreams, becoming who you want to be, but you have these almost like electrical fences on the side that you can't see it. You see all this possibility on the left and all of this possibility on the right, and you want to go in that direction, but the electrical fences remind you of where you're supposed to be. And that is, I know I'm not the only one that had that, so that was kind of, what I noticed growing up. So, and I think that was for myself and for maybe a few others that were able to make it out of that type of conditioning. When you tell someone that you have to decide as the individual, well, what am I going to do? One of the things that helped me was in going to Japan, and I taught over there for several years. And that began to open up my mind because I'm in a land now with people that everyone else has told me in church they're going to hell just because they believe differently. They're Buddhist primarily. There's Christian faith over there too, yes, but they're primarily a Buddhist country. And you're telling me that all these people are going to hell, yet they have treated me better than all of you ever have.
Wow.
And I'm not trying to shade, my hometown or America or anything like that. I appreciate what we have. I'm not trying to curse what we've got. But if I really had to go pound for pound, they've outdone you so many different ways. They accepted me when you would not. They gave me opportunities when you would not. They encouraged me when you would not. They said I could be anything when you didn't, and that matters. That type of freedom, that type of spiritual ability and allowance to expand is necessary for every individual. So once I saw that, it made me choose. It made me choose, and other people that were there from other small towns, and we all collectively decided F those people. We're gonna live the way we want to live, and you're so much happier because of it.
It was ever something that I really thought about. I just could say that I always had an attraction for men. So I can't say that at 5 years old I figured out that I was gay. I don't even think it worked like that. I think for me it was, I knew I wasn't attracted to girls the same way that the other men or other boys in my family were. So I knew that was something different, but I never thought about the sexual attraction or anything of that nature when I was young.
That makes sense. So did you know a lot of gay people when you were growing up, or did you know any?
No, I didn't know of anyone that was gay or live a gay lifestyle. My family's really religious, so most of my family were very into the church.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't even meet my gay friends until I was probably 19 or 20. School was good. I had a great high school experience. Middle school I fought a lot. And that may have been some of the issues that people had with me,
Mm-hmm.
that they thought I was gay. I don't even think I was dealing with so many other things during that time of my life. I don't even think the aspect of sexuality and what people would think if I said, "Oh yeah, I'm gay," how it would affect me. I guess I could say I really started dealing with that maybe in my 20s. How do people see me as a gay man, or how would people see me as a gay man? Is probably when I started thinking about that aspect. But school, I had a really good time. I was real popular. I had a lot of friends. And it really wasn't even a big thing for me, as far as me thinking about, oh, will they like me if I said I was gay? It wasn't even a thought. I think that it really crossed my mind. Black people there's already a stigma to be a black male. If you can look at statistics, you can look at just how society treats people as black men. Then you can see the way society treats people of queer people or gay people. So it's kind of like you just adding something else into the pot for someone to discriminate on you about, or someone to dislike something else about you. So yeah, it's definitely harder because I'm black on top of that. And the way I identify myself, I say, I wake up in the morning. What's the first thing you see? You see that I'm black. That's something I don't even have to tell you. So if that's gonna be if you're gonna discriminate, that's gonna be an automatic discrimination. If that's something you're gonna discriminate on, I can't hide it. I can't go any way around it. It's nothing I can do to make people not see me as black. As far as being gay, I think when you get into that aspect, and I'm more so of a person, it's not something that I feel that I hide or that I'm trying to cover up, but it's not something that I feel that I necessarily have to announce, like, oh my gosh, I'm black and gay. And not saying that there's something wrong with it. For me, I feel that who I am as a person matters a lot more than who I choose to sleep with. So I've never seen heterosexual people say, oh yeah, I'm straight, and give people clap because they came out as straight. I don't I don't think it's something that I necessarily need to do or need to tell everybody when I walk into a room. Um, when people see me, I want them to see, even like if I couldn't be black, if I could just be um, translucent and meet people and let people see who I am as a person, I think that would help society just be a lot more um, equal. So
Thought that I wanted to be a girl, and I'm gonna tell you why. I was very effeminate. I was very soft spoken. So straight boys used to beat me up, spit on me, and tell me you should have been born a girl. So I thought maybe I am a girl. Didn't wear drag, didn't do anything. Started going to the gay clubs, and then the first gay club I went to, I saw these dudes looking like Mike Tyson, voguing and kicking and saying, yes, Miss Thing. And I was like, wait a minute.
Is housed in the same entity.
I was like, that's me. I'm not trans. I'm a butch queen. So that was quite a revelation for me, because the Black community, sometimes they regulate what is and what isn't manly, not giving me room to say I'm a gay boy who has quote unquote femme ways. Because we had this conversation yesterday, my husband and his straight frat brothers are like, I don't even like going to gay pride anymore because it seems youth centered, it seems commercial. And I was seeing how Black gay pride in New York is different than regular gay pride, because it's planned, organized by African American LGBT people, and they even recognize people in the community who have made a difference. What I will say is, being 53, I feel that when I was your age and younger, the community of Black gays were way more united for several reasons. The first being, most gay bars back then either didn't want us at their clubs, or they regulated a night where we could actually attend. So as a result, we all had to socialize at the same bar, at the same night, or we found a bar that catered to us. So we would see guys who would first start off as gay, then as a drag queen, then as transgender. We saw guys who would come in closeted, get a boyfriend, break up with that boyfriend, get another boyfriend, contract HIV and die. We saw couples be together for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So we saw the progression of people either through their gender identity or their relationships. For instance, when I was coming up, transgender women and gay men were like this. So were the lesbians. When Black gay men were dying from AIDS, it was the lesbians taking care of them when their families would not. When the homophobes would come to the gay bars, it would be the lesbians, the drag queens, the trans girls, and the butch queens fighting them boys down. And we would talk about it the next weekend. Also, you have to understand that we had to socialize when there was no social media. Everything was word of mouth. So what that meant was if I liked you, I actually had to come across the room and talk to you. Or my friend had to say, yo, my boy is checking you out. He want to talk to you. And I'd be like, what? He want to talk to me? So like we knew how to communicate. I think the barrier with the internet, which has been both a blessing and a curse, it has helped, but it has hindered face-to-face communication. It has hindered the likelihood of people having a conversation. When I used to go to the gay clubs, they used to even play slow music. They had a set where you would slow dance, and guys was like, do you want to dance? Or you go ask the guy. It was the experience of being Black and gay in the 80s and 90s. For me, we were more of a community. Although we had our differences, it wasn't a barrier for us getting along, talking to people. Like my husband, he was in the House of Africa. So he used to walk with Tracy Africa.
Right.
The famous transgender model. He knew her. He was in her house, the House of Africa. So he came from the ball scene from way back in the day.
The
where
original ball scene.
Right. You didn't become an icon or a legend after walking 2 fucking categories. It's like, how does her become an icon and she only been in the ball scene for a year? I'm confused. So, things have changed, as generations do what they do. But what I will say, being Black and gay also meant this, and this is what I tried to explain to white people, white gays. When you are African American or of African descent, particularly during my era, when you came out, there was a level that your family felt you were responsible for. And what I mean by that is my generation of Black gay men who got college degrees, there was a sense of obligation to still be close to family. Meaning didn't move away far enough. You contributed financially or you encouraged your sibling or other relatives to attend school. Bear in mind, Atlanta today was not the Atlanta when I was in college. Atlanta was a conversation that many Black gays were saying, you might want to go to Atlanta. I wanted to go to New York because, originally I'm from Cleveland. But Atlanta and New York and Chicago and Detroit, those were in DC. Those were the spots in the 80s and 90s. Also, what really decimated Black gay clubs, in my opinion, starting in the late 80s, was crack and AIDS.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of clubs where the owners either died or got addicted, or the patrons would slowly disappear. Historically, white gay men went to San Francisco, New York, LA. They had places where they could just completely run away. Black gay men, historically, we didn't have that option because we felt more of an obligation to family. That's number one. Number two, the main gay bars that were really popular were owned and operated by white gays. And if we wanted to get in, we used to show 3, 4 forms of ID. We had to go in on certain nights. And sometimes they would only let us in if they thought we were selling dick or weed, okay? So the experience of being Black and gay also meant that the Black church was real heavy with homophobia and we had to deal with homophobes sitting outside the bars ready to fight us. So when we went out, sometimes we didn't know we were going to be attacked coming out, and we had to be prepared. So today's young people, and I'm not dismissing homophobia, I'm not dismissing that there is still danger being gay. Hear me and hear me clearly. What I am saying is the outlets to discuss these issues weren't afforded to us as it is to them. Also, we had to deal with the blatant racism that many of the younger gays are surprised. We're not surprised. It never left. You know, oh, your mom's homophobic because she don't accept you. Okay, look, first of all, there are many Black mothers that will look at you and say, you belong with a woman. Now eat these grits and sausages and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
A lot of white gays don't understand that. It's different if the mother tries to hurt you or throw you out. But my mother, to the day she died, was like, I really wish you would be with a woman. Okay. When you come out, your family comes out, and there are going to be different levels of accepting your outness. And for many mothers, when they're holding us, when your mother held you, when my mother held me, they said he's going to be a doctor, he's going to do this. Never did they say he's going to be gay. So for a lot of them, they're like, wow, my child is not going to be who I want him to be. But also, the Black community has also made a point to say when a man is gay, it is because of a domineering mother. And that is not fair, because there are a lot of Black leaders who come from single-headed family households. They shame Black mothers for having gay sons because they tell the gay mother it is her fault. That is something I heard growing up in my era. Oh, he gay because his mama in his life. Really? Now, my brothers grew up without the presence of our father because my parents divorced when I was 17. I grew up with a father, a grandfather, older male cousins, older male uncles, other uncles. So, but I'm still gay. My brothers were in their formative years and they're both heterosexual. So we need to be wary of the hoteps and the Black intellectuals trying to say the reason why he's gay is because his mother was in his life. That really makes many Black mothers feel fearful when it is known that their son is gay because the community might blame the mother. That was a struggle for a lot of Black mothers in my era. Is it my fault? My mother said, did I do that to you? And I'm like, no, you didn't do that to me. Quit
Not even
carrying
just
guilt.
But that rhetoric from your generation has been passed down because my mom, one of the questions, she was like, have I been a bad mother? What did I do? And I was looking like, this ain't got nothing to do with you. Like, I literally have to live this myself. This is just me telling you, hey, this is
right. And white gays didn't get that.
Mm-mm.
Black gays got that. And what we also got was certain parts of our community telling us you can be either or, but you can't be both. White gays didn't get that. And here's what I want people to understand. If I tell you right now, take away Noah's Ark. Other than Noah's Ark, what major gay show TV celebrated Black on Black gay love? If they showed us, we were either completely a stereotype or caricature, or we were in the arms of a white man. So growing up, just like you, even for me, I'm like, well, where are the Black gay men? All the men I keep seeing, they got them with white men. So I had to really search. Queer as folk, I always told people, it's great, and I can relate to some of the things, but it was and so what we had to do, my generation, we had Ebony, Jet, Right On magazine, and we had The Advocate Out and all these magazines, but neither one of those publications solidified both of us. We had to go to the gay magazines for gay affirmation, but not Black. We went to the Black magazines for Black affirmation, but not gay. And if the Black magazines did mention gay, it was because of AIDS, it was because I am no longer gay, But if the white magazines mentioned us, it was because we were on the arms of a white man or we were kindly mentioned. So what saved me were 2 books, In the Life, the compilation by Joseph Beam, and then the second compilation, Brother to Brother, which was edited by Essex Hemphill.